They say the future for many young people is that either you will own nothing and you will be happy, or that more and more young people are choosing not to get into homes and are basically renters. And that's going to include women, not just housing. Now, I've been looking for a home for the past 2 years, something for investment. And one thing that I've come to realize after the past 2 years of looking at many different homes in a couple of different areas is that the shit is a scam. For real. One of the reasons why you see a lot of young people not willing to buy homes is because, there's a lot of stuff that as I got older, the stuff that was like normal, like insurance, right? Car insurance, health insurance. I start to realize that shit is a scam. I work as a nurse. I'll tell you straightforwardly. Healthcare insurance is a scam. It's socialism. It's a Ponzi scheme to pay for the people who came in way before you, and you spend I mean, shit. Realistically speaking, I think out of the 45 years I've been alive, I think I've needed to see a doctor maybe 5 times, like where I was like legitimately sick, and you need a doctor to. And a lot of times it was just because you needed the prescription to get the antibiotics, not because you needed the doctor. A lot of times, like when I was in Colombia, I ended up with a little bit of a sore throat that I typically got when I was sick. I went right to the pharmacy and I was like, hey, let me get that antibiotic right there for a sore throat. And they're like, sure, no problem. Here you go. 2 days later, cleared up. Cleared up. I usually get prone to I used to get tonsillitis as a kid, and a couple of days of antibiotics, I was okay. No problem. Anyway, I digress. And I think for a lot of people as they get old, as a lot of young people, when they start looking at what's going on, they're like, something don't sit right. And I'll show you an example. I'm going to read what, to me, it's just bullshit. You walk into a home, let's say you're going to buy a home, and you're like, okay, I'm going to put down 20% because I don't want to pay PMI. I don't want to pay the insurance on my loan. With the loan that they generate, is just they generate the shit out of thin air anyway. But this is how people get nickel and dimed, and they're like, oh well, this is how it's always been. And I'm like, so it's been a scam that long, and y'all never said anything. It's one of the reasons what adds to the high cost of owning a home. This is even including repairs and lawn care and paying for water and all this other shit. I'm gonna have a listen. So I was looking at a home, and the home was shit to begin with. And it wasn't necessarily in the best neighborhood, but oh, this is the downtown area. And I'm like, yeah, but why is the person across the street like sitting out there with a bomb? This is what you get for this is 220K for one bedroom. This is it was a duplex, one bedroom. One bedroom, one bathroom on the top, on the bottom, one bedroom, one bath on the top. And they wanted 220 for this bitch. And the shit could only rent for 1,000, right? So you do that math. So I was like, well, how much would it cost to close? Like maybe we can get this reduced, maybe get a little bit better of a yield. And then they're like, I was like, all right, 20% is going to cost me about 40 some odd thousand to close in this place. And they're like, not so fast, young man, not so fast. There are also the fees that come with it. I'm like, fees? What are you talking about? This is what you end up with. So you get a title policy fee. Now this is 17.5 in fees and taxes on top of the 44%, no, the 20%, the 44,000 for the 20% down payment, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm going to put the 20%, I'm not going to worry about the PMI and all that shit, right? So you pay an additional 1,900 in title policy, an additional 175 in a closing service fee, an additional 125 on a closing protection letter, an additional 400 for endorsements, an additional 30 for a carrier, 20 for a wire fee, and 100 for an e-doc fee. That total comes to $2,700 and some change. Then you have some of the more interesting fees, which is your origination fee. And I'm like, well, what is an origination fee? Well, that's the charge for the lender to generate the loan. And I'm like, well, isn't that what the interest is for? And they're like, that's what you thought. And they're like, no, there's another fee to create this loan. And then, of course, the state is like, well, shit, if y'all getting some, we got to get some too. So you get state transfer fee tax of $1,100. You get your annual taxes of $2,200. Then you get your recording fee mortgage of $200 plus an additional recording fee deed cost of $200. And then the city hits you with the real big one, which is a city transfer tax of $5,500. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Aren't I paying mortgage tax? Like, aren't you already paying like tax for the mortgage? And I'm like, no, that's not it. No, this is just to add a little insult to the injury. And so at the end of it all, for a property that you think isn't really that great in a downtown area, and I was like walking through the downtown area, and I went like 5 blocks over from where the house was, and I went to get a thing of pizza, like on the main avenue where all the bars and restaurants and shit are. And I asked the kid who was running the place, I was like, hey, how's this neighborhood? He was like, oh, there was a guy got stabbed just the other night. And that's what you get to pay for. You get to pay all these fees so you're going to live in a neighborhood where someone just got stabbed in the night before. And this is for this isn't even like an up and coming. This is an area that is already established. It's where all the young people, this is where all the young kids live that go to the local university. They're like, this is where you guys look for housing. And his home was like slightly away. It was like 5 blocks away from all of that. So I was thinking, oh, it's a little bit further away of a walk. I have to kind of drive to get to where the downtown, like if you want to go out for a night, have a drink, etc. You can't really walk it because you got to cross like this little bridge area, and it's not really walkable. And I wouldn't want to walk in that area at night anyway. This is what you got to pay for. And you're sitting here, and at the end of the day, you're like, this shit ain't worth it. Like, you guys put up with this? It's just like insurance. They're like, oh, you need we're gonna give you glasses. I was like, I've been wearing these glasses for like 4 years. Why would I be paying all this money into insurance? I'll just pay the $200 or $300 that it costs for the actual glasses instead of paying for this for the life of my employment with this company. Doesn't make any sense. Just like realistically speaking, I was working at a hospital at New York Presbyterian. I was there for 4 years. For 4 years, you're paying part of your salary goes to health insurance. And I'm like, I have a need to see the doctor outside of the times you force me to go see a doctor. There's nothing wrong with me. And even when I go see the doctors, they don't do anything because they know that you're young and there ain't shit wrong with you. So unless you tell them that there's something wrong with you, more than likely you don't need a doctor. But it's just a way to leech money off of people. And it's like, as you get a little bit older, some people are just like, fuck it. It is what it is. And some people are like, this shit is a scam and they don't want to participate. It comes to the same thing moving forward with women. You're going to see much more women are going to be pay to play because of the way the economy is, because of all the little shits, everybody trying to get a piece. We realize shit ain't worth it. I got to get married. At least back in the day, right? Like when those people who were earning $5,000 a year and the home cost them $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, you're like, okay, I can understand that. You got a wife, she cooked, she cleaned, she did all this shit. It was like, hello, honey, how are you doing? The house was clean. Now these bitches come with 20, 30, 40 bodies that they've slept with dudes from before you. They don't want to do shit for you. And on top of that, the state is like, oh yeah, we're going to let her steal your shit in case she wants to dip on you. And so young people realize this shit is all just a Ponzi scheme. It's all a scam. It's all a scam. You scam relationships. You scam simple things as just by trying to buy a home. It's the same home that your dad bought 20 years ago that he hasn't done shit to, but it's cost tenfold. You look at a house and you're like, oh, this must be, shit. Some of the houses, I was looking at this home in Pittsburgh, was $200,000. They're like, oh, it's a total rehab. And I'm like, you want me to pay $200K for a home that's a total rehab? And it wasn't even like that was the only home on that block that was in that condition, because I went down to, looked it up on Google Earth, and I started looking at the neighborhood. I'm like, this neighborhood is shit. I actually eventually, while I was looking at another home, I was like, well, since I'm in this area, let me just go check out and see what this neighborhood looks like in person. And it's like half the block is vacant. You look through and you see all these different homes, and they're all boarded up. And on top of that, you got to pay all this bullshit. So not only do you have to pay the 200K, a lot of these people want cash because they're like, this place is kind of dilapidated. We're kind of worried about giving you the loan. And it's like, well, motherfucker, then why does it cost so much? And on top of that, you'll have to pay all these bullshit fees. So you pay the 20%. You're going to put down 40K for that 200,000 home. And then you got to pay another, whatever, 17,000, 16,000 for your cost and fees just to move in, just for the pleasure of having to spend 150K to renovate it. And they're like, this is housing. And you wonder why young people don't want to get involved. You wonder why young people are staying home. And of course, the funny part is that boomers will sit here and say, well, maybe you're just not ready for a home. Maybe you're not responsible enough. Maybe you need to earn some more money. And it's like, no, motherfucker. Maybe you should stop scamming people. It is what it is. This is why you see so many people not wanting to participate, because they realize the shit is a scam. Why young people don't want to work. You want to pay me how much? And inflation is how much? And it costs rent for how much to live here? And they're just like, I don't want to participate. It's just all a scam. Just to pay for all the taxes, all the fees, because everybody got a handout. All these boomers got a handout. You bought this home for 15,000 way back when. You maybe put in 50,000 over the 20 years that you lived there, and they're like, yeah, I want 400,000 for this home. And it's just a complete scam. It's all from money creation, from all the money creation that the government has done. And it's inflated everything, even hoes. And this is why, moving forward, unless you experience like a complete collapse where you just reset the bitch and start all over again and say, fuck these people over here. Like, you started this problem, we're going to let this shit ride out and collapse. It's just going to continue on. It's just going to continue on. And then what you end up with is, as you say, you will own nothing. They will own everything. Hope you're happy. That is the reality of the situation. Because the people who came before us didn't say no. They saw the shit that was going on. They went through some hard times. And instead of saying, no, we're not going to add all these different taxes and fees and surcharges and privileges for living in this neighborhood, and you got to pay, this tax and that tax, and you get the water tax and then the water fee. And I'm sorry, we got the cost of inflation and you got to pay for that too. People are just not going to participate. And it is what it is. This is the shit you voted for. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.